Okay, I got some cool things to show you now. And I'm actually going to show you part of the process for casting a small version of Audrey 2. I'll talk more about it in a minute. I want to start doing it first so that it's cured by the end of this video. So first thing I'm going to do is point you down here. I'll talk more about some of these pieces in a moment. But first thing I'll show you is this is the resin I'm using. Smooth Cast 65D. There's two parts. You mix them 50-50. I already just pre-poured them equally into these two cups. Okay? So then what you do is you mix them together just like this. And then as soon as you do that, the clock starts ticking. So I have probably about I think it's about 5 minutes of working time. So let me stir this up. You want to make sure it's stirred up very nicely, evenly, so that it cures evenly as well. Just using a little popsicle stick. Okay, that's probably good. And this is the mold that I just made, and I'll show you how I did this again shortly. Let's make sure this mold is pretty clean first. Get all the junk out. Okay, so here we go. It's going to pour this straight into the mold, going at an angle because of the Audrey 2's nose that she has on my design. I want to make sure I don't get any air bubbles inside there. Okay, so there we go. Filling it up nicely. And there she is. Okay. Now I'll talk more about that process. We'll come back to this. You notice now it's pretty clear. Once it starts to cure, it actually starts to turn white. Now I'll show you what one of the finished ones looks like. Okay. Now, actually, I'll show you quick down here. I had to make a whole bunch of them. Look at all those. I'll explain why right now. So the director decided at the end he wants all of the actors to come out with a small Audrey 2. Now the process that I used to make the original small Audrey 2 was that this is completely fabricated. I carved it out of foam and then coated it with the creature cast. And it took a while to do that. So to make 9 of these, I just don't have enough time since the show opens next week. So I decided to do a small sculpture of the Audrey 2 out of clay. Okay, and this was the sculpture that I did. Okay, it had the nose that she has, but when I put it in the mold and pulled it out, the nose fell off, which is fine because it's in the mold, which is all that matters. So then after I made the mold out of, what I used in mold? I made my mold out of silicone, and I used the Omu 30, okay? It's a nice cheap, this is like a $30 pack from Smooth On. So that's what I used, and I did a simple dump mold. And here's my dump mold that I made. There's pictures of it on Instagram as well, and when I poured it. If you want to learn how to do a very simple dump mold, you can see a video. Tested has a very good video. Go to tested.com or check out their YouTube video. They have a real nice, very simple way, probably the simplest way of making a mold. Okay, it won't work for any kind of object, but it worked perfect for this. So what I ended up with were these little halves of the Audrey 2s. So I just did one sculpture, and so I have to cast 2 of them to make one Audrey 2. And the plastic cures to this nice hard white plastic, just like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to epoxy these together to make the sculpture, okay? But some of them I'll cut a little bevel in the back so that the mouth can be permanently open. I want them all to be a little bit different. So, and I'm going to think about different pots to put them in. Some of them might be in a small ceramic pot. Other ones might be in something different. I don't want them all to be in the can like this one. And actually, this Audrey 2 is not the one that I've been doing all the videos on. I already delivered pods 1, 2, and 3 to the theater so they can start rehearsing with them with the puppeteer. This is actually a prop version of pod 1 that I thought they could use in the show so that the mechanism one isn't being juggled around too much. But turns out they didn't need it. So I have this nice little sculpture. Let's see, I can pose the the leaves are, and the mouth doesn't open because this one's not a puppet, it's just a prop. So so I have this as a little decoration for my classroom now. So I'm gonna probably just take this to school. But there's that. So now I'm gonna show you pod 4, what I have so far. I have the top half of her right here. I'll lift her up. The bottom jaw is in my garage. But here is the top jaw, Audrey 2, pod 4. You can see how big she is. Check it out. That's pretty large. You see I had to kind of squeeze it through my door there. Should be able to get it out, but once this frame is set into her, I'm going to take her outside and then coat her with the creature cast after I do some carving onto the foam as well. Here's the frame. Just finished it. It's all out of aluminum. But this is the frame that's going to be set into that foam. This will give it all the structure, because as you could tell from me holding that one up, it was kind of floppy. Okay, it was flopping around. This will keep it nice and steady. Okay? So I have to do the same thing for the bottom. And my buddy Chaz is going to come over, hopefully on Saturday. He's going to help me with the base of pod 4. So that she has a little slide in her so people can get eaten by the plant. Let's take another look down here at how this is coming out. As you can see, the resin has started to set up. You can tell because it's white. It's really warm too. Okay, so the way when this cures, it's a chemical reaction. Unlike the creature cast, which is water-based, that just has to dry. The water has to evaporate out of it. This is a chemical reaction, and depending on which resins you order, they have different strengths, hardnesses. They have different cure times, different working times. This is the one that I've always used. I use it for a lot of eyes on some of my other puppets as well, and I think it's perfect for this too. I've tested it. It's pretty. These things are really durable. Okay, so now I actually have to make. I don't know if I told you, but I have to make 9 of these little Audrey 2s. So I had to cast up 18 of these halves. Now when I pull this one out, it's not going to be quite as clean as these ones because the mold has just had a lot of abuse from all these things being ripped out. If I used a release agent, it probably would have been a little bit more, got a little bit more life out of this mold, but I only needed to make 18 of them anyway. So there will be a little bit of flashing around the nose when I pull this one out, but I'll also show you how I can clean that up very easily as well. So I think this needs, like, I'd say about at least one more minute. I should probably wait like 10 more minutes, but I'll pull it early. It'll still be kind of hot, but I think it'll be fine. I just don't want this video to be like way too long. But there's got to be something else I can show you quick. What if I'll bring you up here. I'll do a quick tour of my workshop. How does that sound? It's a mess now. I had it clean for when Mike Randall came over, but in working on pod 4, it became a mess again. So here we go. There's my computer, where I do a lot of my video editing and whatnot. One of my puppet racks. You can see up here I have a long roll of paper. I use that, pull that down for when I take pictures of the puppets. So it has a nice white background, and I do the lighting better. Here I have one of my sewing machines. It's my straight stitch Juki. Okay. Over here I have another straight stitch machine. That's my Brother Etc. That was my first industrial machine. It was great. Awesome. Now over here, covered by Audrey 2, is my walking foot machine. And this one is with all that other junk on it there, that's my industrial serger as well. I have this nice work table too, a real nice long, what is that, 8-foot work table. That's covered in junk right now too, because I'm in the middle of a whole bunch of projects all at once. And I have a couple mannequins back there. Some of the puppets from Arlo's art show are up here. Got my bananas and my crayons. Got the fleas over there. Are the fleas over there? It's kind of dark, but there are the fleas from Itch too. There's Arlo. This awesome shelf that my aunt gave me. I already filled it up with a bunch of junk. Oh, and these are really cool. This is one. These are little figurines from my favorite artist, Jason Freeney. Actually, I'm inspired by his process so much. I use the same process to make those banana puppets that he uses to make his sculptures. But he's known for doing the anatomy of characters, and also his original work is just amazing. Very inspiring to me. So I'll bring it back over here. I think this is ready to pull. Sorry, I hope that's not too shaky. Okay, bring it back down here. Now time to be demolded. That's fine, okay. So I get some air in there. You can hear the breaking of the seal. I think the mic will pick that up. Okay. Yeah, it's still hot, I can feel it. Now I just reach in. Carefully pull it out. Now as you can see, there's definitely some flashing, and actually that little flute there, that's there on purpose so I wouldn't get an air bubble, but it's very easy to just snip off. So I'm just going to use very carefully an X-Acto blade I already got myself earlier, but just carefully dig that out. Yeah, this is still pretty soft. Okay, do just a little bit more cleanup of this flashing, and a little bit underneath the lip here. And what's great about this plastic too is that it sands really well, so I can also hit this with a little sandpaper, and it'll come out really nice. But there it is. So now I have another little half of the Audrey 2 to make another little sculpture. But if you want to see some more pictures of the process to doing the sculpture and making the dump mold, I have them on my Instagram as well. You can check that out. And I'll be posting some pictures of these little sculptures finished soon, and also some pictures of the Audrey 2 Pod 4. So stick around for some updates. Follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you soon. Bye.